guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yoyis and I'm a lash artist in Las Vegas. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I use tape in every single way possible. I'm going to be showing you guys different ways on how you can use tape for your advantage to help you guys out. Not only can you use tape to tape down your eye pads, but you can use tape to hold back your lashes, to get right in the inner corner. I'm telling you guys, there's so many ways on how you can use tape. But for right now, I'm pretty much just going to be showing you guys what I do on a regular basis. I am doing a fill just because I wanted to show you guys how you can use tape during a fill. I feel like that's when you use tape the most, especially. Okay, so my number one tip that I will always give you guys in all my videos is to wash and prime your clients' lashes no matter what. Even if you tell them to come in with clean lashes, I just feel like some clients don't really listen. And honestly, by you washing and priming their lashes, it's gonna benefit you in the long run because your clients are gonna see that their retention is so good just because you took that extra time to do this step. And I'm pretty much just washing her lashes with my DIY lash cleanser, which pretty much is the Prolong cleanser. I do have the video on how I make them, so if you are interested in that, then I'll have the link down below. Okay, so now I'm just going ahead and rinsing off her lashes. I'm gonna blow dry them before I do anything else. Also, I recommend to wash your lashes before you put eye pads because sometimes I completely forget to wash her lashes and I put eye pads and tape, and then when you really think about it, you're like, crap, I need to wash her lashes. So when you start to wash your lashes, you're pretty much wetting the tape and the iPad, and that makes them not be sticky anymore. So that's why I started washing their lashes before I do anything else, because honestly it'll help you with so much time, because then you're not going to be struggling with the iPad or the tape because they're going to be, it's going to be a hot mess. So trust me on this, wash your lashes before you do anything else. That should be the first thing you do when they lay their head down. Okay, so for today's eye pads, I'm going to be using the Lyon Lash, the hydrogel eye pads. So when it comes to placing your pads, I recommend for you to put them right under the lash line, I guess you could say. I wouldn't recommend putting it directly on it. As you can see, I have enough space to be able to put tape right on the lashes, just because I noticed that when you put them a little bit higher, like right under the lash line, the tape is really not holding it down. You're pretty much just putting tape right above the iPad and it's not holding it down. So that's why I always leave enough room to be able to have the tape do all the work, if that makes sense. Just because the tape is what's going to hold the iPad down, and if you put it right on the lash line, it's going to be sliding, especially if your client talks or moves or even does anything. Any little movement on their face will move the iPad. So that's why I always leave enough room for my tape to be able to hold them down. And for the tape, I recommend using the Nexcare Blue Sensitive tape. I've tried so many tapes to hold down the bottom lashes in my iPads, and I feel like nothing works as good as the Blue Nexcare Sensitive tape. So now I'm just going in with my XOXO Lashes primer. Honestly, I cannot lash without priming my lashes. So the reason why I use a primer is because in case you have any oils or residue that are left over, the XOXO Lashes primer will pretty much take care of all of that. I don't know if you've ever noticed where you've tried to lash without washing their lashes or priming, and when you go in to try to stick on an extension, it's just sliding all over the place and it won't stick. That's because of the oils or buildup on the natural lashes. So always wash your lashes and make sure to prime them. I love using the XOXO Lashes just because I haven't had any issues with my lashes sliding all over the place ever since I started using that primer. So now I am getting into the fun part, and that's lashing the inner corners. I love lashing the inner corners first just because it gets the hard part out of the way first. So pretty much what I'm using is the clear Micropore tape, and this is the Nexcare brand. So pretty much what you do is you place it right in the center of the eyelid and you pull back as far back as you can, and that will pretty much slide all the lashes to the right or to the left, whichever way you're pulling, and that's gonna give you space to be able to work with. As you can see here, I am not struggling lashing the inner corner because all the lashes are pulled back, and it's so easy. Like, just look how easy and simple it is to lash the inner corners. Honestly, when I first started lashing, inner corners was the hardest part for me to do, just because I didn't know. Nobody told me about this trick. I was so confused of how to lash the inner corners, and ever since I watched videos and I started doing this trick, I do not struggle at all. And I always make sure to do this first, just because you want to be able to get the hardest part out of the way. And I'm gonna put some pictures here for you guys so you guys can see that I'm not lying. I deliberately did not lash the inner corners because it was so hard for me. I didn't understand. I didn't know how to lash the inner corners, and so that's why I didn't do them. And I would tell my clients that's how it's supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to have lashes in the middle corner. I would lie to them, and it sucks, but you know what? You learn as you go. And I'm glad for YouTube, and I'm glad for a lot of girls that helped me out through this journey. And that's why I lash the inner corners first, because I want to be able to get them out of the way first. And here's another trick that I'm going to teach you guys that I wasn't really taught by anybody, but I use my wedding finger to move the eyelid around. I feel like sometimes, you know, you have a couple lashes that are being stubborn that don't want to move out of the way. So I use my fingers to be able to move the lid around to get in there. I feel like sometimes tweezers just don't help. So use your fingers in any way possible, especially when it comes to the inner corners. Don't be scared to touch your client's eyelids, but please make sure that your hands are washed and sanitized at all times. If you're touching your tools, you're touching your tape, you're touching your glue, please sanitize right after you finish touching something. You don't want to be touching your client's eyelids and have, you know, some kind of germs on there from touching your products. Even though everything should be sanitized, still take that extra time to sanitize, but it's all worth it. I don't mind having dry hands as long as my hands are not dirty when I'm ever touching my client's face. So I had mentioned it in one of my previous videos on how to lash the inner corners, but pretty much my trick on lashing the inner corners is use your tools. Like, don't be scared of using your tools. You gotta move them up and down, do what you gotta do, but use your tools. Your tools are your best friends when it comes to being a lash artist. Like I'm showing you here, I turn my tweezers around to be able to help my isolation tool get the other lashes out of the way. And I am doing a hybrid set, so as you can see, I'm placing fans and classic lashes throughout my set. For me, I take the longest doing the inner corners. I feel like doing the inner corners, you have to be more precise and more careful, just because I feel like the eyes are more sensitive there. So if you're stressing out because you're 30-40 minutes, an hour into your inner corners and you're still not done, do not even stress it, girl. As long as those inner corners are banging, that's all that matters. You need to have bomb as inner corners. You need to have really good inner corners. That's what's going to complete your set. If you're not lashing the inner corners like the way I used to, you're going to be able to notice it in the pictures. And I used to think, and I used to lie to them, telling them, no, you're good, no. You're good, like, you don't need lashes there. I would notice that they would be like, girl, like, you tripping. So don't be scared to take that extra time doing the inner corners. Honestly, your clients are gonna notice. Your clients are gonna love you for it. So don't be scared of those inner corners. Get in there, girl. Just do what you gotta do, but make sure you get it done. So I'm gonna be jumping back and forth between different angles to kind of show you exactly what I'm doing. So now I'm just taking off the tape from the inner corners and placing it in the center of my eyelid. And pretty much what I'm doing is I'm pulling the eyelid up off the iPad. You don't want to pull it way too high up, because then you're lifting the eye way too high up and pretty much you're exposing your client's eyes to the fumes of the glue. So be careful with that. The reason why I lift the eyelid off the iPad is because it helps with your lashes not sticking to the iPad. Honestly, I don't have any issues with my extensions being glued to the iPad because I'm always lifting, I'm always doing this step. So if you ever have any issues with that, then I recommend you try this out, and trust me, it's gonna be a big lifesaver because then you won't be struggling removing lashes off the iPad, and your clients are going to be like, oh, like that was fast, that's, you know, there's no stickies, you know. So be careful with that and try this if you are struggling with that. Okay, so this is my favorite part when it comes to taping method. So what I like to do is I like to take the white micropore tape and I like to rub it on the back of my hand. Like I said, make sure your hands are washed and sanitized at all times, so do not forget to rub it on the back of your hand. This step is so important because if you don't rub it on the back of your hand, the tape is going to be so sticky, and when you try to remove it and take off the lashes, it's going to be glued to your lashes and it's just going to be a hot mess. So make sure to rub it on the back of your hand to take off the extra layer of stickiness, and you're pretty much just going to pull those babies back. That's pretty much it. Just pull those babies back like you saw. It's so simple. Also, be careful not to lift the eyelid way too high because then you're going to be exposing your client's eyeball to the fumes. So make sure that when you tape it down, make sure you're pushing the eyelid down to pretty much force the eye to stay shut. So remember to do this step. Do not miss this step because you don't want fumes getting in your client's eye. So I like to do this a lot when it comes to my fills. I don't normally do this for a full set just because it takes a lot longer to take those extra layers out of the way. So I only do this because you're able to grab those extensions and pull them out of the way, and it exposes all the lashes underneath that haven't been lashed. So I like to do this the first thing when doing the center of the eyes, and then once I'm done I will take that off and then go through whatever's left and fill what needs to be filled. So I like to do this because it helps you get in there. I mean, sometimes it's a struggle to be able to move those lashes around, so this step will help you lash those bottom layers first. Get everything out of the way as fast as you can. As you can see, it's so simple. You pretty much half of the time don't need to isolate just because there's not much to isolate. Their lashes are already spread out. Half of the lashes are lashed and they're pulled back, so the lashes that you need to lash are exposed. So it's so simple, so fast, and honestly I love doing this. I don't struggle one bit. So if you are struggling with isolation and if you are doing a fill, I 100% recommend to do this. Try it out. You're gonna love it. You're gonna see how fast you get done. So make sure to leave a comment down below if there's anything that I haven't mentioned in this video. If you're still struggling with isolation, then shoot me a message asking me exactly what it is you're struggling with, and maybe that I can help you out. Honestly, the best advice I can give you is take your time. Isolation doesn't happen overnight. You have to get used to it. You have to keep working at it in order for you to get it down. You have to train your hands to do it. I get it, you know, it's really hard sometimes using both our hands at the same time, but that's what's gonna help us out. Is over time you'll learn, your hands will get used to it. So now I'm pretty much just taking off the tape, and you always want to use your tweezers to help you out in case there are any stickies. You don't want to just start yanking that tape off because it's gonna cause so much pain. So just be careful. Take your time taking that tape off, and like I said, rub it on the back of your hand because that is what's gonna help take off the sticky layer from the top. So now I'm just going in with another set of tape, and this is just a regular lash extension tape, and I like to use this one for the outer taping bag. So pretty much what I like to do is, so instead of taping back the extensions, you're pretty much gonna pull them to the side, and that's gonna help expose the outer corners. And do you see how much space I have to work with? And I'm not struggling to be able to move the lashes back, because one thing that I did struggle in the beginning was, you know, trying to move those lashes back, because now you have a full row of lashes and you have to get to the outer corners and they just keep getting in the way, and it's so hard for you to get them out of the way. So that's why I tape them to the side to just shift them over and when you actually do this, you actually shift the eyelid a little bit to be able to stretch those lashes out the same way that you did with the inner corner taping. So if you are struggling with the outer corners and you feel like all those lashes are getting in the way, you can't move them out, then I highly recommend for you to try this trick. I just feel like when I started officially using tape to my advantage and I started learning how to tape back lashes and move lashes out of the way with tape, it just made my job so much easier, because I feel like I struggled a lot in the beginning with isolation because it was so much lashes and it was so hard for me to get them out of the way. So when I started doing all these taping tricks, it just made everything so much easier for me. Technically, you don't need to do all these steps. I don't do them all the time. I do them once in a while, but I just feel like depending on what I'm struggling with during that time, then I'll do that. For example, if I'm struggling with the outer corners, I will use my tape to tape back all those lashes that I just lashed to move them out of the way, and it just makes everything so much simpler, so much easier, and I'm able to lash faster because I'm not struggling with isolation. And as you could tell, I am not struggling one bit. I'm able to move those lashes out of the way as fast as possible. And I'm also going to show you another trick if you feel like you're still struggling with the outer corners, or if you feel like your outer corners are laying flat on the iPad, then use your tape, place it right on the outer corner and pull it back the same way that you did in the inner corners, and then again use the same tape to move those lashes back. And as you can see, I was able to move all the lashes that I just recently lashed. That way I have easy access to the outer corners, and as simple as that, you're able to move the lashes out of the way and place those extensions down as fast as possible so you could get them faster. So pretty much these are all the taping methods that I use. Not every single day, but once in a while when I am struggling with certain areas, these are the taping methods that I use to pretty much help me get them faster, to isolate better, and to lash every single natural lash. So if you guys enjoyed this video and if you feel like my tips were helpful, or if you like this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe because your support and love means the world to me, and smash that notification button so you guys don't miss out on all my new videos. So I'm just gonna leave the rest of the video with the cute little song, that way you guys can see how I finish everything. And also, last tip, make sure to brush those lashes. Brush, brush, brush until you feel like every single lash is in place, because in the beginning I used to struggle and never used to brush my lashes as much as I should, and my lashes would just be out of place. So extra little tip, brush those lashes as much as you can. So alright guys, I'll see you guys in my next video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!